Breaking Down the Law is sponsored by Battle Born Injury Lawyers.
The Western States Pact, you've probably heard about that, right? The governor announcing that we have joined other Western states in response to COVID-19. We're joining Washington, Oregon, Colorado, and California. So this is a collaborative effort to reopen our states and get back to business. So joining us more with some of the legal implications of this and how it will impact our state is Matt Hoffmann. We are breaking down the law on this Wednesday, Matt. So let's kind of just jump right into it. Let's talk a little bit more about this, what this will entail and what it means for us ultimately.
Well, the Western Pact that we've joined with California, Oregon, Washington, and then Colorado, there's not a ton of information as far as specifics. It's more spoken to in generalities by the different governors, particularly Governor Newsom from California. But essentially, they're saying that, look, we want to have uniform sharing and collaborative efforts, potentially the pooling of resources, whether it's, hospital supplies, masks. I think that's something that could come from it. But for the most part, it's basically this agreement that, look, we're going to share what we've learned with each other, best practices, guides to reopening, and things like that. So, it's not legally binding. There's not any kind of a legal agreement here. It's more of a handshake, symbolic agreement.
Okay, and I'm going to kind of join these two questions together. There's always
Sure.
talk about politicalization of anything when something like this happens. So let's talk about if there, really any credence to that, like you said, or are these states just coming together to try to do something to help our states reopen? And kind of leading into the next question, how does that impact us in terms of reopening? Yeah,
look, law and politics come together all the time. So I'm not going to take a side. I can't really win. But I will say this, from the governor's standpoint, I think the supporters of this would say, look, California is our #1 source of tourism in our state. That's the first people that are going to come to our state are going to come from our neighboring state of California. And likewise, we send a ton of tourists there. So it makes sense that we have some kind of uniformity between our states. So the people of both states, know what to expect and that everything's familiar and there's a certain level of comfort with that. Now, critics of this would point to, hey, we joined a pact with, these other states, California, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, and it just so happens all their governors are Democrats. And they see this as purely political. And they point out, look, Idaho, Arizona, Utah, they all have Republican governors, but they're our neighbors. Why aren't we joining them? So I can see the skepticism in this and it, being a symbolic agreement. I kind of come in the middle. I look at it and say, I don't know why this is being politicized at all. This is not a political issue. This is, if we can get information from Arizona that's helpful, then get it, share it. If we can share resources with Utah, we share it. But, so I get the skepticism, as far as reopening goes. We'll see. I'm certainly hopeful that this gives us more opportunity to reopen, to get some guidance from places like California, Colorado in particular, that have done things differently, that are pushing forward on reopening, because we've got a lot of unemployed people, a lot. And if we don't do something soon, let's just face it, you can't foreclose on my house, you can't kick me out of my apartment, and if I can't get a job here, I'm just going to leave. And we know people will leave, because they left in 2007 to 2010, and we saw a huge foreclosure problem because of it. And so go ahead.
Oh, and I was just saying, we definitely don't want that to happen. And
No.
as you were saying, it just really boils down to us getting as much information as we can so that we can get our economy back up and running in a safe manner. Matt, we have to leave it there, but we can talk to you for hours. You're just a wealth of information. So we'll do it again next Wednesday, same time, same place. We appreciate you as always.
All right, thanks for having me.